My parents divorced when I was very young and I was afraid of married life and never wanted to get married. When I was 35 years old, I met my husband, who is very good and gave me a sense of security, and we soon got married. Then I got pregnant and my family and I were very happy. But the delivery was very difficult because my cervix did not dilate properly. It lasted for several hours and I felt a lot of pain. I became unconscious and the doctors and nurses were very alarmed. They checked my pulse. Suddenly I wasn't there anymore. Until then, I was aware of what was going on around me, even though I had been floating around in the dark. The last words I could hear were, "She's going to stop her heart." Suddenly, I found myself in a strange place. I was standing right in front of a big gate, and I started looking around. It was full of flowers of all colors, with a faint white light shining around the petals. It was so pure to look at. I felt no pain here. I felt very relaxed here, just like coming home. The sky was a blue color I had not seen before, and I was enjoying the scenery. A person suddenly appeared and I realized, I knew that face. Oh God, it was my aunt, who died 15 years ago. My aunt was more beautiful than I remembered. Then I saw my uncle, who had died before I was born, but I knew it was him. And my grandmother, whom I had never seen, and my grandfather, who had even died recently, were there. Then I turned around and saw my father. My father had died when I was 20 years old. I was a rebellious teenager at the time and we were always arguing. The day he died, we had just sold our house and were ready to move to a smaller apartment. We had a big fight. I said to him, "I hate you," and said a lot of mean things to him. He ended up going to the apartment with the movers and he said he would pick me up after the move. I waited for my dad at my friend's house. But it was very late and he didn't come to pick me up. Then I was informed that my father had a heart attack. He died so suddenly that he didn't say goodbye, or have a chance to say, "Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I really love you." He was gone just like that. Later I lived with my mother. My mother often comforted me and said it was not my fault. But I always felt so guilty that I never had the chance to say goodbye. Now my dad was standing there, and I asked myself, is this real, or am I imagining it? Then my dad said to me, "This is real, my daughter." We talked about the day he died and I remember crying while I apologized to him. He said, "No, it's not your fault, it's just that my time has come." As he said that, he took me in his arms and gave me a hug, just like he used to do when I was 5. As he did so, I looked down and saw that it was a dog I had as a child. He died when I was very young and he stayed with me for many years. He was a very obedient sheepdog. It all sounds crazy, doesn't it? Here, I don't feel the presence of time, I don't know how long has passed, and we continue to talk about it. I said to him, "Do you still get mad at me now?" He said, "No, what happened over there doesn't make sense here." He said, "We will be waiting for you over here, but you have to go back now, your time is not up yet." I said, "Dad, I don't want to go back, I want to stay here." He said, "You have to go. Your time is not up, you have to go back. You will have a son and you have to bring up this child." Then my father told me that if I wanted to be happy in my marriage, I had to trust each other completely and be more tolerant. Don't be like me and your mother. I said, Daddy, I don't want to go, I want to stay with you. Let me stay with you. I don't want to go back. He told me to go back. He told me that he would always be here and that he would be there for me again. He said again, you will have a boy. I thought, my God, I haven't thought of a name yet. When I woke up, I was in the delivery room and the doctor performed a cesarean section. My son was born, and he was so cute and healthy. Now I know that my father was always there for me, he didn't leave me. And when things got tough in my life, it seemed like he would tell me that everything was going to be okay.